part 3 of this video, and I'm going to continue with this article by Glenn Greenwald, and in just a minute. I did want to say though, congratulations to the Egyptian people for bringing about at least a small change via principled opposition, non-violent opposition, I might add. And I think that's a very good step forward. How this is all going to work out in the end is anyone's guess, but I totally support their movement towards self-determination for the people, a move towards democracy, and we shall see how much that's going to be undermined now in the coming weeks and months, because this situation is not as clear-cut as many people like to think. This jubilation moment, it's a great thing. Don't get me wrong, it is an absolutely great thing. If I was living in that country right now, I'd be out on the streets jubilating too. It's just, my fear is that even this movement will be undermined once again, and that's what we kind of need to be careful about. Anyway, to continue with Glenn Greenwald's article and critiquing the New York Times and their editorials in regards to dictatorial regimes and all that. Let's go on, because that's what he has to say. Even the most flagrant corruption and illegality result in no accountability for the Egyptian elite. Still, public anger at least results in some prosecutions against rich and well-connected people, such as Ez. But when that happens, it's designed only to placate the public in order to preserve the system of entitlements and prerogatives, not to change it. With a status quo perpetuating system of justice like that, over there in Egypt, he says, the only wonder is that it took this long for them to rise up. Now this is a quote from the New York Times. Thankfully, New York Times readers don't live, evidently, in a country where such endemic problems do not at all exist. This is where the satire part comes in case you haven't noticed, okay? None of this is to say that such matters are not newsworthy when they take place in other countries. They are. And obviously the domestic political repression in Egypt does not compare to what one finds in the United States. But there are 2 points about these types of articles worth noting. The first is that they have the effect of manufacturing appearance that such problems exist only over there, but not here. One would never ever find the New York Times in such a sweeping denunciation of the plutocratic corruption and merge of private wealth and political power that shapes most of American political culture as well. Just like torture, which that paper has no trouble declaring is being used by Egypt's government, but will never say that we're doing the very same thing. You can't call it by that name, in other words. So this entire genre of reporting what's going on over there is not at all happening over here. It's essentially a great big lie. The second point is how adeptly the media morality narrative has been managed from the start of this Egypt crisis. Any foreign story that interests the American media for more than a day requires villains and heroes. What made the Egypt story so rare is that the designated foreign villains are usually first separated from the US before being turned into demons. It's fine to vilify those whom we have steadfastly supported and provided support, and it is just a matter of the past and can be safely ignored. You know, just like with Saddam Hussein, whom we also supported, by the way. Thus were Saddam Hussein, he goes on, former Mujahideen, now known as the terrorists, and any number of Latin American and Asian tyrants seamlessly turned into the horrible, evil monsters, despite our once great alliances with them. The fact that it happened in the past, albeit the very present past, permitted those facts to be excluded. But so intertwined is the US with Mubarak, still, even though he stepped down, by the way, that such narrative separation was a bit impossible. Not even American propaganda could whitewash the fact that the US has imposed Mubarak's regime on the Egyptian people for decades. His government is not merely our ally, but was one of our closest client regimes. We propped him up, paid for his tools, for the repression, and we kept him safe for 30 years from exactly this type of uprising which was happening during the last few weeks. And of course, always, you know, doing favors for Israel and other Arab client states, I might add, including Saudi Arabia. And yet, it's remarkable how self-righteously our media class can proclaim sympathy with the heroic populace and such scorn for their dictator without really reconciling our national responsibility in propping him up for 30 years. This is completely brushed under the table. It is not part of the narrative anymore. Might make a part 4 video on this, I'm not sure yet. You know, with 150 views or something on this video, it's probably useless. See you all later. Bye.